this presentation. Okay, welcome everyone. So we'll get started now. I'm Tanya Dotlick. I'm Executive Director of Keep Durham Beautiful. And Dawn, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey everyone, Dawn Keyser. I'm the program director for Keep Durham Beautiful.
Thank you. Okay, we still have a few more people coming in quickly here. And I just put in the chat the garden tour volunteer instructions, and we're going to be reviewing those tonight. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your evening to join us. We will be finished by 6 p.m., if not before that. So we'll make it quick and answer any questions that you have about your volunteer roles this weekend. So this is the third annual Durham Garden Tour, and I am just going to share with you very quickly. Let's see if I can find it. Just had it open. Um, a preview, here it is, a preview of some of the gardens. So you'll have an idea of what some of them look like. And let me share my screen. Okay. So make this a little bit bigger here. So this is a little preview of we have 11 gardens on the tour. And a little bit of background about Keep Durham Beautiful. And this will also be in the program, so you can read about the accomplishments that we've had in the past year. This is what the map looks like to the garden tour. There is also a QR code, so people might be asking how they find the next garden, and they might need some instruction on learning how to use this. If you just take a photo of this QR code right here, it will open up an interactive map, and then you can just click on any of these numbers that are on the map, and it'll take you, give you directions from where you are at that moment to the next place that you want to go. We're going to talk about program pickup a little bit later or soon actually. And the two places where you can pick up a program are going to be at number 6, which is the Extension Demonstration Garden, which was the same place we had program pickup last year. And also at Plaza Futuro, which is at El Futuro in Lakewood Shopping Center. So those are the two places that people can go to get their programs if they haven't gotten them in advance this week. And just a note, on Saturday, there's going to be a big race in Durham. It's a Garmin race, and they're expecting thousands of people, and lots of streets will be blocked off for the morning on Saturday morning. I think a lot of them will be open by mid-morning, so our tour starts at 10. So I think we'll mostly be okay, but it might be just a little congested in the especially downtown area at the beginning of the day on Saturday. And then just going through the gardens. This is Dave and Sally's on Delafield. This was on the tour last year. And Roseheim Garden. There is a link available on our website and also in the volunteer information handout to the actual program where you can read the descriptions about these gardens. I will also include a link to this presentation in that handout, but this has a few more photos than the program has. Faraway Micro Farm, Garden on Vista. This was on the tour 2 years ago. We have been including a couple of gardens from each year. We have been repeating a couple of gardens. So this year, I guess there are 3 that are repeating. Garden on Vista and Dave and Sally's garden, and then the Extension Demonstration Garden. Bull City Commons Garden is a new one. This is a co-housing site, and they've transformed a gravel lot into a meadow. This is the Extension Demonstration Garden, one of the places where we'll have program handout happening. Then we have the Peters Oats Garden in downtown Durham. Plaza Futuro, which is at Lakewood Shopping Center. It's a really cool water feature, very kid-friendly. Lakewood Elementary Garden, which is also a kid-friendly garden built by and for kids. Clay Hill Gardens, which is getting towards the southern side of our garden selections for this year. And South Durham Retreat, which is also in the southern direction of our gardens this year. And then we do have a slide of all of our sponsors. So very great thanks to all of our sponsors. And let's see. Okay. Okay, and now I'm now sharing our volunteer handout. I'm going to put this into the chat again because if any of you arrived recently, it might not be in there. Let's see, chat. Okay. And feel free to paste questions into the chat that you think of, and we will review those as soon as we get done going through this handout. So just at the top of the handout, there are a couple of contacts. Annette is on the call here too. Annette is the third person who will be someone who can help you if you are having, a question you can't answer or if you have an emergency. My name, Dawn Keyser, and Annette Smith will all be your contacts. Thank you, Annette. We also, I think I see our board treasurer on the call, Sandy Demaray. If you want to wave, Sandy. There you go. Thank you. So your role will be to greet the visitors, thank them for it, and then as they're leaving, thank them for attending. We have on the back of the program a passport where we'll be able to stamp the that garden that you're at. You'll put a stamp on that garden when they arrive, and that way, they'll have a knowledge of where they've been, and it's just a little fun feature that we have. In theory, I guess it also prevents someone else from coming and using the program, but we're not super strict about that. If somebody wants to come back to a garden and they already have a stamp, you don't have to turn them away. It's fine. We also would like you to count the number of people visiting the garden. And so we'll have a handout that we'll have all this information on a clipboard at the garden, and you'll be able to tally the number of people who enter the garden. We also want to count the number of children as well as the adults. We'll go through some safety procedures, and you may be asked by the garden hosts, or depending on how large the garden is, you may want to direct people to certain features in the garden. So the hours are a little bit simpler this year. It's just 10 to 3 both days. And then here are the volunteer shifts. So the first one starts at 9:30, the second one at 11:15, and the third one at 1 p.m. There is a 30-minute overlap. So just come at the exact time of your shift, and that has a built-in overlap in it so that you can take some time to talk to the volunteers who are leaving and learn from them any tips that they have. You may be able to meet the garden owner and learn from them as well, and that will help you guide the visitors to the garden. When will you receive your volunteer assignments? Dawn, would you like to speak to that?
I was just typing a message in the chat.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm probably about 80% done. If you, like most of the folks here, I believe I have placed you, and I may have reached out about like specifying if you picked multiple times that you were available. I don't know if that means you want to work the entire time or if you are just available anytime, really. So I've been reaching out to some of you to clarify that. We do still need about a dozen volunteers or so. So in some cases, if you have a friend that wants to join you, I might have room. Just reach out and ask. Or you can just send them the link to sign up and they can sign up for like the shifts that are available. That's the other thing too, is if you're signed up for multiple shifts, once I have you assigned for a particular shift, I can free up those times for other volunteers that may want to volunteer. So,
Okay, thank you,
but
Dawn.
yeah, and I've been doing my best to assign everyone based on location and any preferences for being with certain people. And I think I'm I think I've been doing okay, but you might not be at the closest garden to you, but like the second or third closest.
Thank you, John. Yes, she's puzzling a lot this week. Um,
It's so much fun.
Thank you. The garden owners or garden hosts, as we call them, they've also been instructed to provide our volunteers with a little, paragraph or so or bullet points about their garden, anything that they want to convey. They may or not, may not be present when you're there. So, don't feel like you have to know everything about the garden, but you'll know whatever they provide to you. Um, one wonderful feature of being a volunteer for this event is that you get a comp ticket to the garden tour. So that's good for the entire 2 days of the tour. You can come by our office to pick that up um, between now and the end of the day Friday from 9 to 5. So that's this address here. Um, or I'll put that in highlight too. Or during the tour, you can pick it up at either number 6 or number 8 on the map, which I pointed out earlier. If you have the first shift of the day on Saturday, we can put your program at the location with your name on it. So if you haven't picked it up by then, we will be going through and making sure that we do put that program, at your garden site on Saturday morning. But we're figuring most other people probably will want to get started Saturday morning, so you can go ahead and pick your program up at one of these 3 locations. At the program pickup, we'll have the list of either the ticket purchaser and or the volunteers on that list, so your name should be on there. We've got a link to some other resources that you can check out. This is where I'll add the link to that PowerPoint presentation that I showed you as well. But DurhamGardenTour.org is our website. In some places it has a www in front of it. It does not work. The link does not work if you have that. So if you try to click a link that isn't working, make sure you're not using the www on the front. We also have the garden tour program available now. You can also get to it on our website. And so this goes through all the gardens as well. You'll recognize that map a little bit and some of this content. We've also got a lot of ads in there from our amazing sponsors. But this is about what each garden description looks like. So once you get your garden assignment, you can learn more about it. So I'll let you look through that at your convenience. We also have an interactive map to the gardens. This is the one I was describing where, like, say if you're at one location and then you click this link, it'll give you directions. You can just say view in Google Maps. And then, so like from wherever I am, I can just say, I can just start navigating to that location. So that's a nice feature. We also have a list of the featured plants. So you can look up the plants that are at the garden that you are visiting or working at. And then we have also a list of our tour sponsors, which definitely if you encounter any of those sponsors in in the coming weeks and months, be sure to thank them, please, on our behalf for sponsoring. We're also going to cover some safety items. And so I have a link to our volunteer manual, which just goes over all kinds of things about volunteering with Keep Durham Beautiful, safety topics. But it also goes through, so there's like weather safety and policies and procedures. I just want you to know about this. You don't have to read through it all, but it's here if you would like to. But what I do want you to know about, and we will have one of these on our clipboard as well, is our incident report form. So if anybody, has an incident, either like an interpersonal interaction or an injury or anything, you can fill this out. And then we'll talk a little bit. I'll just skip down for a moment. Well, I'll get back to the procedures if you have any incident, what to do. And And we do have a link to the ticket holder names here in case somebody wants to look that up if they're trying to decide whether they've purchased their ticket or not. We'll have that link right there. So just some tips about being prepared, packing your water. We will have snacks and drinks for our volunteers, but water's always good. We will have chairs and a table and some kind of shelter at each site. It may just be, a tent or it may be a porch. And then during the tour, these are the details. Again, can't emphasize enough to just be friendly and make sure people feel welcome. Thanking them for arriving and saying goodbye. At the check-in table, we'll have 2 volunteers at every site. At the check-in table, somewhere around the front entrance of each garden, we'll have at least one person checking the visitors in. The second person can be located somewhere out in the garden. If you identify any place that seems like either it needs additional information or it's a featured plant or something that might be some kind of safety feature that we think, a loose stone or a step or something, you might want to position yourself there and just advise people to watch their step. So when you arrive, oh, you can also help with things like, if parking is tricky, you could, maybe kind of guide people to parking. You could help them navigate to the next garden. They may have questions that you can answer. So when you arrive, just browse through the clipboard, sign the volunteer timesheet, which also will have a waiver on it, and then start to use the 30 minutes that you have to gather some information about the garden. Any questions about parking, any ways to navigate through the garden, off-limits areas, and then some aspects of the garden design and personality that you can share with the visitors. So we'll have the clipboard. We'll also have a QR code for ticket purchase. At most places, people are not going to be coming and wanting to purchase a ticket, but they can purchase a ticket online anytime during the garden tour. So it may be that they would want to stand there and purchase a ticket right then. We're not going to have a lot of programs at all of the garden sites, so they may not get a program if they do that, but you can let them in if they show you that they have purchased a ticket. They'd probably just be showing you on the phone. And then you'd want to direct them to get their program at location either 6 or 8 after that. So we'll also have a page with the volunteer contact information for all of the other people at your garden location. So that if, say, you're getting ready to leave, it's time for the next volunteer to have arrived. And if they don't show up, then you'll have their phone numbers. And you could either call one of the 3 of us, me, Dawn, or Annette, or you could also try calling the volunteer that's supposed to be there. We'll have snacks and drinks. We will have a small number of extra programs just in case for those circumstances that we mentioned, unless we sell out of programs, but I don't think we will. We have, I think, a little over 400 programs are spoken for right now, and we've purchased 700. So we have space for about 300 people between now and then to register. If you do end up giving someone a program, if you could please just record their name on the clipboard, that would be helpful. So we can make sure we get an accurate count. So the check-in procedure. So make sure everybody who comes in has a program or they've shown you a ticket in some way. Stamp the program. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, that's the wrong one. It's like a passport that looks like this. So you'll stamp it right over here. And youth under 18 are allowed to attend for free. Record a count of all the visitors, and we want to count the number of youth as well, just for our information. And then this goes through the details of if a visitor comes who doesn't have a program. I think I've said all of that already. Just a few rules. Dogs are not permitted unless it's a service animal. Children, try to keep them in out of the garden beds. Also, in terms of weather, there is a chance of rain Saturday. I'm not seeing a lot about thunder and lightning, but if there is any inclement weather, make sure to direct people to shelter, either their cars or under a porch. It is a rain or shine event, so dress accordingly. And then in terms of safety, yeah, just um, the for probably earlier on in the day, this will be more important because as the day goes along, I think people will start to know whether there are any areas that are of concern. But if someone does get injured, call 911 if it's serious. Notify one of the three of our staff members listed at the top of this form and complete the incident report form. And you're not responsible for fixing anything, just drawing people's attention to them if you know about it. Don't move injured individuals unless it's necessary and call 911 if needed. We have a couple of touring tips. I think that we have shared these with most everyone already. So it's a lot of common sense. Um, Up here, I have done it again. I put the www there, but it shouldn't be there. Okay. Um, so we would really appreciate you continuing to share the news of this event with your networks so that we can get more attendees. Oh, and look, here is this featured slide deck here, the link to that. So you can click on that and watch it at your leisure. And I will stop sharing and take any questions that people have. Any questions? Were there any in the chat, Dawn?
No more that I saw.
Okay. Great. Yes, definitely check the weather. I think we'll all be quite delighted if it rains on Saturday because we need
Yeah.
it.
Um,
And we will deal with it because we all appreciate gardens. Um, for the counting of the people who enter, yeah, in on the form, I wish I had a sample of it here, but I don't. But it'll have boxes and it'll have one box for adults and another box for counting the children. And you can just do the hash marks. So like four straight lines vertical and then one line across to get to five. And that'll help us just to easily count the number of people who attend. And we're going to have it in time slots. So I think we'll have it just for every volunteer shift will be a new slot to track, just so we'll know sort of the general flow of traffic. Yeah. And yes, the email with your assignments will come out tomorrow from Dawn, most likely. And she can answer any questions you might have once you get that.
mhm. Um, Deb asked about people paying cash for a ticket.
Oh, yes. So we prefer for people who want to pay cash to go to the El Futuro site. That's where we're going to have like change and we'll have a staff person there at all times. Um, but if they want to pay cash and you're willing to take it, that's not a problem. It's not a lot of cash. Um, so I don't feel real strict about it, but I would leave that up to your judgment call if you feel comfortable with it, a cash or check, but they also can do it online on their phone. Did you have any thoughts about that, Sandy? Sandy's our treasurer.
No, I think it's a good idea for them to do it online if at all possible, and almost everybody is that way. And they'll have phones. Most everybody will have a phone with them,
Yeah,
right? So we
yeah.
can, and the code, that QR code will be
We
on
will we
documents
will
that
have
we
a
have.
QR code at the station so
Yeah,
they can just take a picture of the QR code and that will take them directly to the form to purchase a ticket.
yeah. That's probably the easiest because otherwise we'll have to keep up with the money and so forth. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, we got done in time. Um, I will send this link to everyone along with the recording So, if anybody wants to watch the recording who's volunteering with us, they will be getting that by email. And I think I'll send that out this evening, so you'll have it pretty quickly. All right. Well, thank you so much for spending a half hour of your evening with us, and we'll see you on this weekend.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.